back to what the F happened to David Dobrik. Yeah, I see him all over YouTube. I don't see him as much. I feel like, I don't know if he still makes videos. Maybe he does. I see Mr. Beast more than I see him. But I know he was involved in a situation I think it was last year or at some point. I think somebody got hurt and he got a lawsuit or something like that happened. That's the last thing I heard about him, and then I haven't heard from him ever since that. So, yeah, let's see what happened to him, I guess. Because I have no idea.
David Dobrik, the guy with the annoying laugh. Nothing was ever that funny. You might remember him being the insanely successful YouTuber who get tens of million views on his videos with the Vlog Squad, was the golden child of YouTube, even made appearances on late night TV. Yeah, everything was coming up David Dobrik's way. Until a huge amount of serious controversy, David Dobrik has now just vanished. Hasn't uploaded to his YouTube channel in 2 years. So I asked myself, what the hell has happened to David Dobrik? And today, we're going to find out. So before we talk about where David Dobrik has been, and I'm telling you, he hasn't got any better. If anything, he might have got worse. It's important we know why he went missing. Because his YouTube channel, his insanely successful channel, has just stopped working. That is millions and millions of dollars no longer being accumulated, losing subscribers, losing Instagram followers. You know, everything is in the red right now for David Dobrik. And really what it came down to was David Dobrik was a prick. In my eyes, he was like the Ellen of YouTube, giving away everything, showcasing this generous, kind side to him, giving away Teslas, all these fancy gifts. His generosity apparently knew no bounds.
David, thank you so much. This is so nice.
Soon everyone came to realize everything he did was self-serving, and every vlog he filmed where he fake laughed and made his friends do things for content, he was never the butt of the joke. So let's remind ourselves of these controversies, because I'm telling you, when I went back to refresh my memory, I was like, yeah, it all makes sense now. He was a complete and utter dick. Firstly, we're going to talk about Seth, one of David Dobrik's friends, who David Dobrik decided to play a prank on him, which was, let's actually assault this guy. That's going to get the clicks. He told Seth that for a video, he was going to make out with Corinna. Seth gave his full consent to this and said, yeah, that's absolutely fine. Corinna's going to be in this mask and they're going to make out and it's going to be this funny little bit.
I'm going to convince Seth that he needs to make out with Corinna while she's wearing that old man mask. Seth, are you okay with making out with Corinna? Yes.
Well, that's not what happened. David switched the person in the mask to disgusting Jason Nash.
But instead of going to the room and adding more padding, Corinna's going to hop out of the outfit and have Jason put it on instead. Corinna's taking these off now and switching with them. And then without any hesitation, I'm going to have Jason come out wearing the old man mask and try to make out with Seth.
Unbeknownst to Seth, they started making out bad without Seth's consent at all.
Now millions of billions of people kind of are misconstruing like my own sexuality and how I feel about participating in something that that he didn't have my consent for. So I end up moving to a different state to kind of get away from it, so it's not like people coming up to me left and right.
Seth detailed how his life was actually affected by this. He had to move state because it was just so humiliating, and you could imagine that happening. And you know, when Seth asked his friend, or so he thought his friend, David Dobrik, hey man, can you remove this video because it's causing me insane public humiliation and I would just do anything for it to be gone. You know, David Dobrik, being the great guy he is, offered to buy him out.
And then he, you know, offers to pay me money to keep the videos up. And then at that moment, I realized, like, he's not a friend.
You know, you forget what a scumbag this guy was. All he ever cared about was clout and views. Never his friends. It was clout by any means necessary. Take this next example, Big Nick. The way David Dobrik treated him, constantly making fun of his height, something he couldn't control, and the things he was born with.
So where'd you get the elf?
The elf? Oh no.
I don't need this fucking line anymore.
Finally, I can make fun of something that you weren't born with. Did you have to get a custom mic to get it that low?
Alright, so this is the part where I beat your ass.
Big Nick's rapping on his tippy toes.
Not everything has to do with dwarves. Like, I just want you to look at me like a normal person. Like, I'm sorry, dog, but dwarves are not just dispensable for your content. You got the puppet from the Big Nick vlogs? No.
Puppet? What do you mean puppet?
Dude, it's so fucking lifelike. Is someone working it in the other room? Is it a remote control?
No, this is an actual person. Honestly, I don't think he's ever seen a dwarf before.
There's a guy in the couch working it.
No.
Right? Is there a guy in there? What the fuck are you doing, dog? Holy shit, look at it move! How did you get this here? Dude, tell me how it works right now. Is it battery operated or is it on strings?
It was pretty clear that Big Nick didn't like what was going on.
I did allow it, and that's partially my fault, David, to like disrespect me in the videos, and so then everybody else just got the notion like, oh, okay, like, you know, we can disrespect Big Nick too, like it's because our master does it. You know, that was kind of like the whole vibe. But just because you're popular doesn't mean you're like a good person. It got to a point where people would recognize me in public, and then they would make jokes like about me, and I'm like, dude, like, I don't know you. Just because David did it.
And even described the environment David Dobrik made as a cult.
Kind of like a cult, yeah. It's like a high school vibe, very cultish like vibe.
I mean, it's really not a surprise. You look at it from the outside looking in, looks like a fucking cult. Everyone's doing whatever David wants because David's got the clout, David's got the money. He had so much power over these people because they're so thirsty and hungry for views, and he knew that. Cultivated this environment where the most extreme pranks, the most extreme stunts were rewarded from David. And this really came to a head with Jeff Wittek. The guy almost died for one of David's vlogs, and the way David reacts to it is just mind-blowing.
That was fucked up. I think after that,
I can't show the full thing, but David Dobrik, Jeff Wittek, David's in this vehicle swinging Jeff Wittek around. You know, the worst idea ever. And Jeff Wittek crushes his face against it and almost died. And what's really interesting is David Dobrik's response. He did a podcast with his buddy Jason Nash, and you can really tell how much he lacks empathy here.
The worst thing that's ever happened to me, and I wish I would fucking do anything to take that day back. My hand is shaking. Like, yeah, I mean, anything. Like, I'm being dead ass. Like, I wish it was me up there. I wish whatever. Like, it's like, it's the most unfortunate thing ever. And I think, and it's it's an accident. That's what it was. It's an accident. Like, I also want to make that clear. I don't know if people think that there's never a world where I would ever want that to happen to a person. I was never up there like driving the thing wanting to hurt him or whatever it was. Like, that was never the thing.
Just playing the victim. It was the worst day to ever happen to him. And saying it was an accident. I would never want to hurt Jeff. No one's saying you did. No one's sitting there going, David Dobrik did it to Jeff on purpose. The crux of the argument is David Dobrik fostered this crazy, ruleless, Wild West environment for his vlogs and his work. Bear in mind, this is a business, he's a CEO, that encouraged and rewarded crazy stunts, wild pranks and situations. And you know, nothing says David sincere like the word dead ass. Seeing dead ass here about almost killing your friend, you stupid tree. I didn't even realize David said this at the time, but he makes one of the weirdest statements about this Jeff situation and Jeff being in a hospital of all time.
It's a really hard thing to like navigate when you're in the hospital with something like that, because you don't know whether or not to be like super serious and caring or goofy, right? Like, I don't know how to do that.
No, it isn't. When you've really badly injured and hurt your friend for the sake of clout in the vlog, pretty much breaking his face, no normal human being enters that situation thinking, well, you know, am I going to be a goofball here, get real goofy, get real silly? Or, you know, am I actually going to care and be serious? There's never that decision being made in the head. You almost ended the man. I think you're going to care and be serious. What the shit was that? And, you know, you can't forget the Dirt Dom situation.
Humorous.
More sexual assault. Really serious situation.
Like,
and again, David Dobrik didn't handle it well at all.
And with people in my life that I don't film with anymore, like Dom, I don't align with some of the actions, and I don't stand for any kind of misconduct, and I I've been really disappointed by some of my friends.
Super serious criminal activity going on in David Dobrik's vlog squad and inner circle. Everything was crumbling around him. And so David Dobrik left YouTube. He pretty much quit YouTube, stopped uploading, and fled to Snapchat. Now, why would David Dobrik flee to Snapchat? David claims Snapchat stories are like the raw experience of someone's day.
More money.
It really takes the pressure off creating. A lot of the things you hear from YouTubers and people who do social media all the time is burnout. I've never gotten that feeling with Snap because it's so fucking easy. Like, he gets paid millions of dollars to post on Snap, but also because he's a little baby bitch, and Snapchat doesn't have comments, doesn't have likes.
Exactly.
No one can say anything to David Dobrik. No one can criticize his actions. People might just watch the stupid Snapchats he posts that are still just terrible content, but he can't get any backlash. He can really go incognito and hide away with Snapchat. But even still, David Dobrik finds himself in new recent controversy because, surprise, surprise, he is just a really shitty friend. So we have to talk about Jason Nash. You know, David Dobrik's right-hand man, co-host of their Old Views podcast, easily one of the most key members to the Vlog Squad and helping to make the Vlog Squad what it was. Well, he was so badly affected by David Dobrik and the Vlog Squad falling off that he got into a financial hole, self-admittedly, and the only way he could get out of it was going on TikTok Live to beg for money.
Now look, would I be on TikTok Live if I wasn't in like a financial hole? I don't know, probably not.
Now we all know for a fact that David Dobrik is living pretty in his huge mansion, basically retired, maybe doing a few little Snapchats, but he has absolutely no worries in the world, as confirmed by his friends.
From 18 to like what, 23, 24?
Oh, he was hitting it
hard. He never drank. I don't think he ever drank. Yeah, never did anything. Just remembered he would like, even when we would visit him, we'd be up till like midnight just like watching the edits, just like, hey, is this part better or this one's better?
Yeah.
And then he would have everyone just crowd around his bed. I just remember that. I was like, I thought that was insane.
Yeah.
And now it's like the complete opposite. Everyone's like working and here's him just like, hey, what are you doing tonight? And it's like a Tuesday night. Everyone's working. You want to watch a movie?
Yeah.
It's just a crazy switch, honestly.
There was a great TikTok that he sent, which was like some guy, I don't know if you saw it, he sent it to me, it's just like a TikTok, and it's just a guy on the phone, and it's basically David. He's like,
yeah,
it's just the guy that has like a lot of money and can do anything all day. He's like, oh, Dipple's having a party tonight? And like, and it's literally like things that David has said.
But Jason Nash, who was one of the key elements to building the Vlog Squad, building David Dobrik's riches, co-hosted a podcast with David Dobrik. How is he on his ass begging for money and trying to scrape together ends meet on TikTok Live?
20 seconds left. B4 Sports Station. Everybody bring home now. Slide now. Slide. Slide. 8, 7. Need it bigger. AKS. Yeah!
It just doesn't make sense unless there were some underlying issues, which I don't know, doesn't really seem to be the case. I could imagine a situation where the Vlog Squad staff, David Dobrik, would tell people like Jason Nash, well, you know, you're getting clout and views from my vlogs, so that's the payment. Whereas they'd spend all day with David helping him come up with schemes and stunts and views. You'd think they'd be getting paid by the man. So this all leads on to what David Dobrik has been doing recently, and the topic of friendship is something that comes up a lot with David Dobrik.
He has something to celebrate because he's made it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
we've talked about this before.
Yeah,
I can't put myself in that mindset.
Like, yeah, he calls me to play pool, and I'm like, I gotta go live, and I don't expect him to understand that. Like, I know I've told him. There's also things that I like say to him, and I'm not sure if he hears me.
He doesn't.
Like, I'll say things like, I'm losing my house. and he'll be like, oh, but just come play pool.
It sounds like David Dobrik still hasn't learned how to treat people. So hearing this, that Jason Nash is struggling, what does David Dobrik do? After actually listening to Jason Nash and his financial struggles, he does what's fair, gives him compensation for his appearances and building his brand, denying Jason Nash a share of 10 to 20 million for the podcast David Dobrik bailed on.
He doesn't love it. He just won't do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and which is totally fair.
Yeah, I think so too.
Which is like, if you're not into it, that's why I don't bring it up or whatever.
It is a crazy concept because you give that concept to anybody else and they're like, what? For $10 million?
Yeah, oh my God.
All you have to do is literally go from your bedroom to your downstairs pantry and talk for 40 minutes for $10 million.
Nope, that didn't happen. As in the first half, being David Dobrik, you know, a massive piece of shit, shows a completely different option. One more befitting of the friend we know and have seen David Dobrik be in the past. David Dobrik and his friends all make fun of Jason Nash for doing his TikTok live, then proceeds to go round his house and humiliate Jason Nash even more for Snapchat content.
Guys, I'm visiting Jason. I like to visit him at least once a week just to make sure that he's alive. I know that he's doing TikTok live every day now, but I'm still not convinced it's him. It could be AI at this point. What? Jason!
Oh my god, I thought you were Wyatt. I got so freaked out.
You haven't seen him in a while?
Yeah.
I just paid him the money.
I was, and then it wasn't going well, so I got off.
Dude, you're kind of becoming a legend on TikTok now.
I know. Not in a good way.
Yeah, but I think it's fun.
Not in a good way.
I've seen TikToks with like take a shot every time Jason Nash is on live. Jason doing okay? And Joe's like, I haven't seen him on live in a while. And I go, how long has it been? He's like, hours. And that's when we start to worry when you haven't been on live. You look like you just got back from like a Christmas dinner. Why are you dressing so nice?
Well, you do better on TikTok Live when you look nice.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Where did you get that stat that you do better on TikTok Live? Is that just from testing?
No, someone told me that.
Wait, really?
I met this live streamer. He's a really nice guy. He was like, hey, little tip. It's like, when you dress nice, you'll do better. And I was like, all right, and then I tried it out. But then again, I didn't make any money today, so.
Bye, guys. Thanks for having us over in your,
Bye, guys.
in your little hobbit home.
No, there's nothing funnier than when one of your friends is doing one of the most embarrassing forms of content, essentially e-begging to try and get views and pay his bills with his family.
I think a lot of people don't realize that. It's like, you have kids. You need to support your children somehow.
100%. I literally would do to support my kids. I'm on there 8 hours a day, entertaining people. People want to come in.
That's really hilarious. And it's even funnier when you record him and post him for millions to see and humiliate him even further. That's really good. I mean, are we surprised? Track record of being the worst friend, only doing things for clout, for views. That's all he knows. That's all he cares about. The man lacks empathy, lacks basic human emotions. He's a freak.
Default Sports Station! Everybody bring that green home. Slide now! Slide! Slide! A7! Need it bigger! AKS!
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. Like, honestly, I didn't even know he was in that much, like, I never can pronounce that word. That much drama with all these people. And it's just so bad that he is famous. Like, he is a terrible fucking person. Like, it's not just one incident. It's, like, multiple incidents of, like, treating people bad. Like, the incident with his so-called friend getting hurt, and then he's not knowing to laugh or be serious. Motherfucker, be serious. He could have fucking lost his life, and he busted his face. I didn't even know that. I forgot about that happening because I heard about it, and then I just forgot about that. But that was fucking bad. And then I'm trying to see what else. There's so many in this video. Oh, the first one of the guy, and then he had to put the other guy put the mask on as an old man, and he thought it really was the girl. That was fucking embarrassing to that guy that had to move out of fucking state or whatever. Like, and then you don't even take the video down. Like, what the fuck is your issue? Like, you really do just, it's all about money for some of these people, and it's just like fucked up. Like, yeah, money runs the world, but goddamn, it's given to some of the wrong fucking people, for real. And, like, if you make so much and you can't even take down one video because you want to make money off of something that embarrassed somebody and probably ruined their life for a degree of a point, or maybe still to this day, who fucking knows, you're a piece of shit. Like, you really are. And you don't deserve to fucking be famous. Like, he doesn't deserve any of it. And it's not because people that say that, like, or me, it's not because we're jealous, it's because he doesn't deserve it. Like, you're a terrible person, and you get to just laugh at people's pain and shit. Like, fuck you. Especially the last situation with the podcaster or whoever he had a little show with or something. Like, you're not going to pay him any money, and then he's making lives every day, and you're over here making jokes about it, saying, I don't know if that's really him, or if he's just, like, really, like, pretending to, like, be homeless or pretending to do this. It's like, motherfucker ain't pretending nothing. He literally said he had to make money because your ass didn't pay him. It's clear as day that you didn't want to help him. Like, you just want to laugh at his fucking pain. Fuck you. And this is exactly why I want to stay to myself. As an individual, I'm fucking tired of some of these people out here. There's some really fucked up people. Like, it's terrible. Like, not everyone's a bad person, but there's a lot of people that just, they get access to all this money, all this fame, and they're just really, really bad. Like, they use it to their advantage, and they get lost in it, and it's just like, wow. And he's a pussy because he goes on Snapchat, and he can't go on YouTube or go anywhere where the comments is because he knows he'd be flamed in the comments or, you know. But, I mean, everyone knows the real him, so he can make all this money, but it's not going to take away that he's a terrible person. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video.